Hi, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to monitor response times using ManyChat, a Google spreadsheet, and Zapier. The end result is you'll get a spreadsheet like this, which will log new chats, and then agents can put in their timed response with just a couple clicks and selecting the agent name. From this, you can use pivot tables to figure out the average response time and the number of tickets handled per agent. You can also look at the volume per day of the week, or if you wanted to group this as per hour, you could do that as well. So you can see the day of the month and the number of responses or tickets created per hour. So I will say that I found some dedicated software that does monitor response times and is probably a better ticketing system. That software is Reamaze, but also check the links in the description in case I find I can update any new software that I find. One of the things that I particularly liked about Reamaze was that it has documentation saying that it works with the Facebook handover protocol, and basically what that means is, like, for instance, if you want to go from bot to human, then it'll make the transfer successfully, versus if it didn't have the handover protocol. What you might have is we had hooked up ManyChat to our CRM, and it basically just kind of creates a conversation for anything that happens, even if it doesn't require a response from a human, and it's just a random ManyChat message, basically. So, I mean, it can be very difficult to kind of filter through if it's sending everything over as a new contact. So I think that there's definitely some advantages to using a dedicated software, but this might be a good alternative if you are tight on budget or just want to get the data before deciding to move to a dedicated software. This is relatively easy to set up, but let me just kind of walk you through the process. First, we'll start in ManyChat. There's 4 places we need to configure, I guess, for the triggers to Zapier. One would be on your bot, and I would say any place where you have like a free keyboard input where you're asking a question and you want to prompt a conversation, this would be a great place to send the information over to a human to interact with the people a little bit further. And to do this, you create an action, and this one is to just show you. You edit the flow, and then when you go in and you create an action, you can create a new action and then do trigger zap. You can select from existing triggers, or you can just type something random to create a new trigger. So I would go through your bot, and any place where you have you've prompted, I guess, a question and want to have a human contact with these people, make that a trigger for the zap. The other places that we'll need to add this to are the welcome message, and I've just got that there to trigger the zap, the default reply, and then also the main menu. We have a talk to customer support button on the menu. So once you've got all that set up, going through Zapier is relatively easy as well. You select ManyChat as the trigger and the name of the event that you used, and you'll configure Zapier or ManyChat and Zapier if you haven't used them before, and it'll once you get it set up correctly, it'll show you kind of all the information it pulls through from ManyChat. Then it's just a matter of going into your Google spreadsheet and setting that up. So these are the rows I used. It's time, name, and then these are the rows that we fill in. These are calculated rows. These you'll match up with the Zapier information. So URL, user time zone, lead score. This is a custom field, but any custom information that you want to include in the spreadsheet, you can. And then the last user message. And then just going through Zapier, that's relatively easy to set up. I won't get too deep into that, but it's just matching the information you pulled from the ManyChat to the different rows in your spreadsheet. Let me go through a little bit of how I set the spreadsheet up. You can down or check the link in the description for a copy of this spreadsheet. The response rows, this was an interesting problem because you either have the now function in Google Sheets, which automatically updates to the current time, or you have you can either put in date or time using a keyboard shortcut, but it would require like two keyboard shortcuts to get both the date and the time. What I found, which was a pretty neat solution that I found on the internet, was using this as a validation and creating the time, the now function, but making it a product of like now times 1, so that way it doesn't update. So then you can set up validation here by just clicking on the like column basically and going to data validation, and then just setting that up for that that cell here where you've got equals product now parentheses and comma 1. So that, and then this was a basic validation as well, just to get the agent name. And then you've got your elapsed time in hours, minutes, and seconds. This is just kind of the easy to read format. And I'm not a spreadsheet expert. You might be able to figure that out, but this was just doing the A minus C to get that calculation. But to get it into this easy to read hours, minutes, seconds format, you do lose the function as a number. So I have over here the function just as a number, which is C minus A column and then times 24. So this will give us a fraction in hours. So 1 hour and 50 minutes is 1.8 hours. And this being a number, we can use to calculate averages on the pivot table. Just a quick idea on how to set up your pivot tables. Here I've got the agent name as a row, and we've got values for the number of tickets and the average for the response time. If we wanted to do like an average per day, we can add in the time period to the row, and then right click and choose the time interval. So we could do like maybe day of the month, and see the response times per agent per day of the month. Another useful item here is to look at your number of tickets by hour, so you can see which times of the day are generating the most traffic. So that's basically it. How to use ManyChat and Google Sheets with Zapier to monitor your ticket response times. Again, this depending on what existing systems you have in place, it might make more sense to go with a dedicated system for this, where you would get collision detection to see like who's working on tickets at the same time. But this is something that's rudimentary. You know, I mean, if somebody wants to claim a ticket, they can hit the thing here, and you know, I mean, just seeing in Google Sheets could operate as some collision detection, and this might be a way, if you're like really cash strapped, you could save a little bit of money. But you know, I mean, the dedicated systems are going to give you items like templated responses, so you're not going into another spreadsheet to copy and paste a response to people. Another limitation is you're not going to track all of the conversations. And let's look at this default reply. It operates once per every 24 hours. So that means, you know, if you're having an active conversation with someone, they're not always going to get the "thank you for your inquiry, our staff will respond as soon as possible." So that means that this trigger isn't going to fire all the time. So it's not all encompassing, I guess. You're getting an idea of the conversations that are starting, but if their customer is replying back after a ticket is created, then that may not trigger a new ticket, which is why a dedicated system obviously is better. And but this is something that could give you an idea of when your busy times are, so you can kind of start to gauge if you want to scale up to a dedicated system to monitor everything. Have any questions or comments? Please leave those in the space below. And thanks for watching.